I've never found a love like this. There it is. I've never found a love like this.
Hello everyone, welcome back to E20 Zone TV. It is Monday and we have a win from the weekend. I must admit I was quite surprised with the lineup on the weekend, and to get the job done the way we did against the poor Wolves side, who have unfortunately lost their manager, is it's a good result for West Ham. It's not a great result for West Ham because in time we will see if West Ham have changed their tune. But on Saturday, we got the job done against a very, very poor Wolves side. So I'm going to talk about three players today who basically helped us on our way on Saturday to our first win at home this season. And the first player is Craig Dawson. And I thought Craig Dawson was absolutely excellent on Saturday. Don't get me wrong, Wolves weren't vintage. They weren't amazing, but Craig comes in, he does the job, and he's Mr. Reliable at the minute for us. And he does the job over and over again when we really need him. When I last see Craig Dawson, he played against Silkeborg in the conference, and I'll be honest with you, I was like a bit and on whether he's still got the goods. But I must admit, on Saturday he surprised me, and he was excellent. Everything he done well. He defended well. He sort of got us on our way with the first goal. He cleared the ball, headed the ball upfield, and Scamacca and Bowen done the rest. But yeah, listen, Craig Dawson, as I say, he's a £2.2 million signing. And for what he's done, I know he wants to go back up north, don't get me wrong. I understand it. I get it. He's got family there and he wants to go and sort of do his thing up north. But at the minute, he's down south and he's helping us out massively. And long may that continue, because I think he's been really, really first class. Listen, when Craig Dawson arrived at West Ham had a choice. £40 million Tarkowski or a £2.2 million signing Craig Dawson. We all know which one's been the better signing. So, yeah, listen, fair play to Craig. He's back. And I want him rested on Thursday night. I don't want to see him Thursday night. I want to see him next Sunday against Fulham at home. Moving on, though, to Timo Kehrer, who, listen, people in the chat and people on Twitter and social media have been saying about Timo. Some people say he's a bit overrated. I disagree. When you've had to deal with Issa Diop for so many years, and when Issa come in, he was a bit of an unbelievable player for West Ham. We all thought he was going to be unbelievable. Then Issa sort of dropped off and become the player he did was a shame, but also sort of crap in the way he was. I will get to the chat shortly, usual suspect. But Timo's come in and he's looked a breath of fresh air. He really, really has. He's embraced the club. He knows what he means, and he's a winner. He wants to win. Listen, when I've done a show on Timo, when West Ham was signing Timo, I said that he will be the signing of the summer. Forget Scamacca, forget Paqueta. For the value of the man and for what he brings to West Ham United Football Club in defence and even midfield, I think Timo's an absolute great signing. He played right back on Saturday night, and I thought he was excellent. I really did. Some people say he got roasted by a player and this and that. Yeah, everyone gets roasted by players. Even Dawson gets roasted by players who I've just praised up. But I look at Timo and I think that is his position from there on. Right back. He has to be our new right back at West Ham United Football Club. It'd be interesting to see when Aguerd enters the fray and comes back and he's fully fit. I would like to see Timo, Zuma, Aguerd and either Emerson or Cresswell. But I've got to be honest, since Timo's been here, he's been chucked in at the deep end. This man hasn't been given time to adapt. He's been thrown in and say, right, you're a defender, defend us. And that's what it has been. So for me, Timo's been absolutely top draw. And as a German international coming to West Ham United Football Club, I've got to be honest, I'm unbelievably surprised for the fee that we got him for. £10.1 million from PSG. I think PSG sold him very, very cheaply. Just to get him off the wage bill, in my opinion. Because when I look at what he'd done at Schalke, I think it was, and then he come to PSG, and now he's at West Ham United Football Club, it's just levels, mate. It's just levels. And he played a lot of games for PSG last season. I mean, for a player who's like a fringe player, so to speak, and that's like a fringe player's sort of price tag, We got him out of steel. We really did. Moving on, though, to the Italian stallion himself, Gianluca Scamacca. And for me, he's got to be our new Premier League striker. Listen, Mikel Antonio's been great, and we discussed it on the player ratings on Sunday night. And we basically said that Antonio's been a great servant for West Ham, but it's time to turn over a new leaf and go Gianluca Scamacca time is now. I thought Gianluca was excellent. I thought he controlled the ball well, held up the ball. And he's not like Mickey. Mickey sort of gets stuck in and wants to fight with defenders. Gianluca don't. He holds the defenders off, and he's looking to score goals. The goal he scored on Saturday was a top-class goal. For a man who, let's be honest, would be lacking a little bit in confidence because he hasn't played many games for West Ham, only in the conference. But what he brought on Saturday night was oozing in class, in my opinion, and I thought it was absolutely excellent. Really, really did. Obviously, we'll see what happens in the next sort of week. I don't expect him to play on Thursday night. I expect him to play on Sunday against Fulham at home. So, yeah, listen, Gianluca, £30 million signing. He's doing well. He's doing well. I see a stat before I come to the chat. And every game he's played for West Ham this year, from the start, we've won. Now, you can look at that and say it's Fireborg, you can say Silkenborg, even FCSB. But we've won these games. And on Saturday night, him and Bowen worked well together. And it was just a different West Ham. As I say, I'm not going to get too carried away because it was Wolves. Wolves are a poor side at present. I will see where we're at next Monday when I'm doing one of these and after the Fulham game. If the Fulham game goes our way and we start seeing progression, then all well and good. Do you know what I mean? But I do think Gianluca is a solution for West Ham United. I really, really do. So, yeah, my final thought on that, the boy's a star quality player. The absolute star quality, and we've got a gem there. Obviously, Paqueta is there. I've not seen anything of this £51 million superstar. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I think he's an absolute top player, but I've not seen that X factor from him yet. But I think that's going to come in time. Yet again, he's another man who's literally been thrown in at the deep end in the Premier League, and he's trying to adapt fast. So we've got to give Paqueta time. Listen, he's not a wasted signing, which I've seen from people, which is unbelievable. But I will say this: when West Ham do click with these front four, whether that's Scamacca, Bowen, Paqueta, and whoever else is the fourth person, we will come good. We will come good. I can safely say that. Do you know what I'm saying? So, listen, I'm going to hand it over to the chat to see what the chat's got to say. But listen, Scamacca's here, and long may it continue. That goal he scored at the weekend was top draw. Right, let's get into your comments. Usual suspect. Afternoon, James. Hope you are all well, mate. Happy Hammerette. I saw your picture with you and Reese looking all well. Yeah, all good. All good, man. Richard, how are you, mate? Wolves like West Ham have some fantastic players. Wolves like West Ham are simply not playing as a team. I agree. But I will say one thing, usual suspect, on that. At least on Saturday night, Moyes did decide to change it. And listen, I understand the people who are Moyes out. Yeah, I'm literally on the fence at the minute. I think the next sort of two Premier League games, Fulham and then Southampton, I will get a fair assessment of where I am with Moyes. If Moyes goes and beats them two teams and changes it around and starts going with these fresher players, then I will start to give him the benefit of the doubt up for the poor start to the season. If he doesn't, and he goes back to what someone said in my chat last night and says that Mikel Antonio might start against Fulham because he got back from the USA late from his international duty with Jamaica, then I might not be so sort of harsh on Moyes. I'll be sort of going in on Moyes big time. I think people have got their right to be Moyes out at the minute because of what he has done. Don't get me wrong. I totally get you. For me, I'm giving him at least these next two games just to see where we're at and see what happens, basically. I agree. We need goals, and Scamacca is the man. Oh, the one. I agree. I love how there's so much talk about it. I think we can all accept that there will be a lot of chopping and changing until we find our best 11. I will say that Yeah, he hasn't found his best 11, but he should have found his best 11 after 8 games and X amount of conference games, Jazza. One thing I will say on that. I think on Saturday night, I think we sort of got the inkling of what was missing. I think Kehrer at right back, he should be our right back. There's no two ways about that. He played for Germany at right back. He played pretty damn well at right back. For whatever criticism Kehrer gets, he done well at right back. I thought bringing Craig Dawson in was a masterstroke, really. Do you know what I'm saying? To change it around the way he did, he done it well. He done it really well. And then you look at up top to drop Antonio, who's, let's be honest, he's a fan's favourite. He's everyone's like sort of, everyone says no, you can't drop Antonio, and bring Scamacca in. And Scamacca, for what he done very, very well, like holding the ball up and everything. I think it was a good. You've got to give credit where credit is due with Moyes. You have to. Like, even though if you don't like Moyes, and I'm not Moyes' biggest fan at the minute, you know what I mean? I think the Wolves game is a game where we was both crap, and I don't forget the first 20 minutes of that game where West Ham were like all over the place a little bit. And if Wolves would have scored first, I don't think we would have got a positive result against them. But Fulham will come and Southampton will come, and these are teams that West Ham should be beating. If we're aiming for top 10, at least minimum top 10, we should be beating the likes of Fulham and Southampton, who are really relegation threatening teams, in my opinion. So we will see what happens there. What we got here, unfortunately, years of investment that will hold this squad in the league last year. Southampton needed a load of players on rather investment of the year's GSP out. Oh, fair enough, mate. Bone had a great game with quality player like Kehrer behind him. Totally agree. I said it on the player ratings. When you've got a top class player in Kehrer, and he is top class. Listen, for how much people, and I do see it on sort of social media, people criticising Kehrer, saying he's overhyped. I don't agree at all. I think West Ham have got a German international who's a top German international. I know Germany ain't the same team as they once were, but to have a proper right back who knows how to defend, who can cross, and who's got pace about him, who can sort of handle these tricky wingers, I think Kehrer is the man, mate. It really is. Patience, Jim. It will come. I think that's in regards of Paqueta. Listen, I see people criticising Paqueta, and I can understand it. I can. He's played, 5 games now for West Ham? And I've not seen the sparks of Brazilian flair. I do think he's a good player, though. I will say that. I think he does do some good things well. Like some passes he does are a bit unreal. But it's something missing there. But maybe it's because he's trying to get adapted to the Premier League. Let's be honest. Premier League is the toughest league in the world, like, to get acclimatised to. And let's be honest, we're throwing Paqueta in really at a stage where we need him. So, yeah. Mr. E20, what is the best dish you can cook? What is the speciality? Well, I'm cooking sausage mash, peas, and gravy tonight. So that is me, Pipeless. Good to see you, mate. Hope you are all well. Football was great. It makes such a difference after a win. I must admit, it does. It changes all of our sort of moods as fans. Like, I noticed at the weekend, like, a lot of fans were still really criticising the team and saying, "Oh well, it wasn't great. It was just like we played a poor Wolves side, but you still got to beat this team. Like, you still got to beat these poor sides." And let's be honest, West Ham have been poor in the first 7 games of the season. There's like no two ways about that, right? West Ham haven't done well in these 7 games. Like people say about the Forest game, fair enough. We're everything other than the back of the net. But against Brighton, we was poor. Against Tottenham, we was okay. In the second half, we should have won the game, but we didn't. And obviously, we've had a lot of bad luck also. So, you've got to start from somewhere. And I think the Wolves was a good game to play to get us on our road. But obviously, Fulham, Southampton, Liverpool, Bournemouth, I think it is. These are the games where we're going to have to step up. I do expect West Ham to beat Fulham and at least not lose against Southampton. If West Ham don't do that, and by the time they get to Liverpool, then I can understand the Moyes out shouts, right, get intensifying, in my opinion. Do you think this Mitch will change his opinion on Soucek if he starts bowling. I think it's an agenda. I'm going to be honest with you because I see your comment last night, and I disagree. I think Mitch is entitled to his opinion as much as I'm entitled to my opinion, as much as you're entitled to your opinion. His opinion on Soucek is you take Soucek out of the team, West Ham play better. And I'll be honest, when Mitch first started coming onto this channel, when I was doing this channel on my own, I got Mitch involved, then Lucas, then West Ham Online, then Affers, and then we've all sort of come together as a unit. And Mitch always said about Soucek, and I done a show about 10 months ago where there's a bit of a debate show, and Affers and Mitch were going at it about Soucek. And I will say one thing: Mitch hasn't got an agenda against Soucek. He just doesn't like him as a footballer. He's got no problem with him as a man. He just doesn't like him as a footballer. He thinks he really makes West Ham slow. He slows West Ham down. And I think the goals, in Mitch's opinion, paper over what he does on the pitch. Like, he'll score a goal and everyone will say he's great, but he doesn't do anything else. So I don't think it's an agenda with him. When Mitch did start first saying about it, I was like, Mitch, you're talking absolute crap, really, because I actually thought Soucek was like top draw up there with Rice. Then slowly, as the months have gone on and the games have gone on, I've sort of watched Soucek more because of Mitch, of what Mitch has been saying. I can understand what Mitch is saying. I really can. I'm not that bad on Soucek, like Mitchell. I will say that. But I can relate to what Mitchell is saying. There is some things that Soucek does where it does anger the fan base. It ain't just Mitchell. There's other people who say this also. So it ain't just Mitchell with the agenda. I do feel that Soucek is a player who he gets away with it because he's got good players around him, and when he don't, he gets found out. So yeah, no agenda from Mitchell. I was surprised that Benny didn't get subbed on, to be honest, but I can't complain about the result. It worked. I'm not surprised. I think Fornells was always coming on. As you know, Happy Hammerette, I like Benny. I think Benny's a good player, but I just don't think it was the game for Benny. Do you know what I mean? I'll be interested to see what happens next Sunday when Cornet is out. Will Fornells come in? I don't want to see Fornells in there from the start. I want to see Ben Rama. I want to see Ben Rama, Bowen, Scamacca, Quetta. That's the front four that I would like to see personally. Will he do it? I don't know. I think with Fornells is the sort of player that can control the game, in my opinion, and he can slow the game down, and he can get on the ball, find them passes, and he's great. But end product for Fornells is poor. And I know Benny doesn't do any better, but at least Benny gets these shots on target, to a point. So yeah, I wasn't surprised that Benny didn't come on. But obviously we've got a big week. We've got Anderlecht on Thursday, and then we got Fulham on Sunday. I'll start our strongest side versus Anderlecht, get some momentum going. We have had a break and another break for the World Cup in November. I think just get the job done over there. Even if we don't win in Anderlecht, even if we get a draw, we're as good as through. I'd expect West Ham to get the job done in this group. We've been lucky in this group, don't get me wrong. Against FCSB was poor in the first half, second half we turned it on. Against Silkeborg, we definitely got away with it because they should have easily got a draw out of that game. And how we won that game, and they should have had a penalty and all, was unreal. It was really unreal. But it is what it is. And that's going to be a challenge, though, because they're a decent side. Belgium side, they've got good history, Anderlecht, especially Champions League history. So I don't know how far they've dropped down the pyramid in Belgium, but we're going to have to go there and try and get a positive result. Who do I reckon will start? I think Antonio starts. I think Benny starts. I think Fornells might start, and maybe even Cornet. If Cornet's fit, he'll start. So, because I wasn't impressed with Cornet on Saturday, I really wasn't. Let's have a look. Afternoon. If that will, yeah, that's it. Afternoon. There you go. That game could have gone anyway. Still not convinced. I agree with you on that. I'm not convinced yet. I'm not. I really ain't. But Fulham and Southampton will convince me because West Ham are going to be expected to impose ourselves on them teams. So yeah, I'm not. I think it's a job done. but it's not a convincing that West Ham have changed all of a sudden over one game. I think some people need to remember that Paqueta is a flair player, so you will see him lose the ball sometimes, but in return, he makes things happen. What is his best position? Everyone in the chat, I just want to put this to you. What is Paqueta's best position? Because there's a bit of a debate going on in E20. I will let you know. Some of us say he should be next to Declan Rice, take Soucek out, put Paqueta there, and that will make him a much better player. Some of us think he should be pushed up the pitch as a number 10. So it's like a 4-2-3-1 system. Be interested to know what you think on this. For me, personally, I feel him with Declan would be excellent. I think his awareness is good. He's up for headers. He's a strong boy. I'll give him that. And he does get stuck in. Like, we've seen flair players in the past come to West Ham. Like, I use Felipe Anderson as an example, who was scared to get stuck in. Like, if he got tackled, he wouldn't go nowhere near the person for the rest of the game. But Paqueta's up there, mate. He's up there for headers. He's a robust lad, absolute robust lad. So, yeah, be interested to see what you think on that. I couldn't believe when Moyes dropped Kefal. Definitely the right man to be dropped. Can't see him getting his shirt back now in any Premier League games, injury permitting. I agree. It's the right call. It was the right call. I think every West Ham fan on the planet could see that Kefal was a bit of a weak link at the minute. Be interesting to see when Ben Johnson comes back. Because if Ben comes back, will he go with Ben Johnson at right back and then Kehrer slotting over back into centre? For me, I do like Kehrer at right back. I think it's just levels of classness. Do you know what I'm saying? And you got a top player there. And I'm not just going to say that because I like Timo Kehrer, but he proved it the other night. It proved how much Bowen improved in that game for me. And yeah, Kehrer at right back, Dawson back in Master Stroke. I agree. Yeah. Paqueta is not ready for this league. He needs too much time on the ball. This league does not give you that. I agree on that. Sometimes he does look for time on the ball. And he's not in the French league or Serie A because obviously he was in Milan for a little while. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think we will know more with him by the end of the season. Not so much now. I think with Paqueta, we can't really judge him over 5 games. We've got to judge him over 15. If I was rating him out of 10 so far, out of the games he's played, I'd probably give him a 6 or 5, something like that. He's been okay. But he hasn't been amazingly good. Do you know what I mean? But then saying that, not a lot of players have been amazingly good, in my opinion. So we will see what happens in the future. Dawson was great. Literally got dispossessed once in the full 93 minutes. Yeah, he was excellent. I've got to be honest. Did Wolves actually sack their manager? I thought they played some all right stuff with no chances. Yes, they did sack their manager, mate. He got the sack yesterday. With the money floating around in the league, Dawson was actually still what a sign he has been. Yeah, listen, I agree. When you weigh up, I'll never forget it when West Ham did sign him, because when West Ham signed him, we had a choice between James Tarkowski, who David Sullivan come on to TalkSport and said about West Ham were looking at Tarkowski and approached Burnley. And then a big U-turn happened, and we go for Craig Dawson. So you've got to give Dawson credit for, one, his performances for West Ham, and also whoever did pick him up, whether that was Moyes or whoever the person who sort of got him to the club. I think it might have even been Stuart Pearce, I think, if I remember rightly. Someone like that. I can't remember who it was. Or Alan Irvine, I think it was, because he used to play with him at West Brom. So, but Dawson's been excellent. He's been excellent. It will be a sad day when he does leave. I will say that. I think Wolves were the perfect game for him, because where Wolves, they didn't really have any players to get him behind other than Traore. And when Traore did come on, he did cause us a few problems, but not many. But yeah, Dawson's been excellent, mate. Absolute great signing. Bowen had so much more going forward where he didn't have to help Kefal out. It's got to be the way forward for sure. I agree, 100%. This one win still doesn't mean Moyes is now safe for me. He's reached his ceiling. I'm with you on that. I'm not convinced by this one win. I will say that I'm ahead. Next 2 games, we'll see where we're at. If we play Fulham on Sunday and West Ham put in another good performance and get the W, then by all means, we've got to give him some credit. If he does change it around, he does keep Scamacca in, and he sort of Timo goes at right back, and he basically if he picks the same lineup, take out Corner, put in another 4 nails of Ben Rama, I think everyone would be happy with that, in my opinion. Moyes is very, very stubborn, and I think yesterday his stubbornness dropped. I think he had no choice. His back was firmly against the wall, right? And I think during the international break, they've probably had a chat and said, Dave, you're going to have to sort this out now. Like, some of these players need to be dropped. And I did say the only player that I didn't think would get dropped is the man who scored in Jared Bowen. I did call it on the preview show. I said he scores every time he plays against Wolverhampton Wanderers. So I think you've got to give Moyes credit for yesterday, or for Saturday, sorry. But it's a work in progress for me, and we will see what happens moving forward. Afternoon all from not so sunny Spain today. Oh, it's better than here, mate. I will say that, Ralph. Hope you're enjoying yourself, mate. Paqueta is getting better and better and better. It's getting better and better every game. He takes some time. You can see the quality is there. I have full confidence in him. So do I, mate. I do think he will come good, though. He will come good. Let's get down to the bottom here. It all depends on the sausages butchers or Iceland's. Oh, well, they are from the butchers, mate. Butcher's finest. Moyes will be replaced either before the season ends or when his contract is up at the end of the season. His last year. Oh, I didn't know that. If it's his last year, West Ham will see it out. West Ham won't sack him or try not to sack him. If Moyes can keep us in the league, which, listen, 20 years ago, this year, was when we went down in 2003, then I don't see if Moyes will be here next season. I honestly do believe, and this is my own personal opinion, is when they do sell to Kadinsky, who will buy the club, there's no choice about it, you've got a proper investor in there who will look to buy the club. I think Kadinsky will get his own manager in. I really do. And I think he will wait. And the amount of money West Ham has spent, I've never seen West Ham spend £170 million plus in my life, ever. And I know West Ham have been in the London Stadium now for the last 6 years. But even when we did spend before, we never spent that sort of amount of money. Do you know what I'm saying? We're spending like a big club. And I think Moyes, his stubbornness is a bit of a factor in the reasoning why basically West Ham haven't really done anything so far this season other than sort of struggle, in my opinion. Moyes dropping Kafal and starting Scamacca, Cornet, Bowen, and Pac-Man was a huge improvement and shows some adaptable from his part. Yeah, I agree. Paqueta reminds me of Pepe at Arsenal. He's just not ready for this league. This league does not suit his style of play. Oh, I don't know about that, mate. I don't know about that. Pepe, I don't think Pepe was treated very well at Arsenal. I will say that. But listen, I think Paqueta will come good. I think there's a talented footballer there. You don't go and play for a Brazil national side starting 11 if you're not that good. So I think he will come good, in my opinion. I'm sorry, but the Czech lads have to go. Yeah. What we got here? Soucek surprised us all, I think. Seeing the lineup, I wanted Downs in for Tommy, but Moyes and Soucek have proved us wrong in this instance. I don't know, Happy Harriet, on that one. I thought Soucek first half was shocking. I thought his passing was absolutely horrendous in the first half. Second half, he come out and he was a completely different player. He was a real, just a completely different player. I think there's a problem there at central midfield with Soucek. People look at the stats, yeah, and then they go, well, I can't look at the stats because stats lie, yeah, for what he does. But when I have Mitchell on this channel, who's a very much Soucek out person, yeah, Mitch does find these stats of pass accuracy, like dangerous attacks where it's just Soucek, and he don't really do a lot. Do you know what I mean? And I just think if you take Soucek out, you put Paqueta and Cornell together, a 3-man midfield, I think that would be better than having Soucek in there. Maybe it would give license for Paqueta just to go forward and back and basically have like a free roll, so to speak. So I think Soucek is, I don't know. Soucek wouldn't get a game under Mitch's management, I agree. There's a reason why Barca didn't sign Soucek when they looked at him about 5 years ago. He can't pass, yeah. Hammerhead. I'm referring to all the hype that come with him. Just cannot adapt to the league. There are players who need time on the ball. This league does not give you that. I do agree with you on that, Claude. I will say that I do agree with you on the time factor. There has been time before, and even against Wolves, excuse me, on Saturday evening, the ball comes to Paqueta, and he's a bit too slow, like to get the ball out or move the ball on. But I think you've got to give him benefit of the doubt. The man's only played, 5 games for West Ham United Football Club so far. We can't really assess him after that. Let's assess him after this season. Now, if he starts to improve on that, his awareness will come better. And I just think him deeper provides more than him as a 10. I think as a 10, as you say, he ain't going to have enough time on the ball. I think from deep, he can have time on the ball and find these passes, and his work rate is phenomenal. I will say that. Soucek is awful at pass, not going to lie, but best game for him this season, in my opinion. Oh, I don't know about that. I saw Paqueta's highlights against Wolves. Weren't much expected brilliance through the ball to Bowen. Rice is losing possession a few times. Last few games, unusual. Right, let's get down to the bottom. Oh, Adam's here. Hey, James. Anyone you're hoping starts on Thursday? I'm hoping Downs, Ashby, Johnson, Benny start. Luca got a bang on last night. Antonio should be used as an impact sub. Fresh Antonio is scary. For me, all the players that you've said, Adam, I would have in. First of all, Flynn Downs has to play. If Flynn Downs does not start in Anderlecht against the Belgians, then there is a problem at West Ham with Flynn. Ashby, yeah, but it wouldn't be surprised me if Kafal goes there. Benny will start. I think Benny does start against them, and I think Antonio starts against them also. But Flynn Downs is a major concern for me. Yeah, I think Flynn has to play a game. He played against FCSB, and we have not seen him since for some reason. And he's not injured; he's on the bench, so he's fully fit, ready to go. So if I see Soucek, Rice, or even Paqueta for that matter against Anderlecht, I'm going to be quite surprised. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I can understand one of them playing. If I see 2 of them or 3 of them, or all 3 of them playing, then I'll be quite shocked, really. So Flynn Downs for me has to play. 8 or 10, I don't think it makes a difference. Oh, I don't know what that's about, but we move on. We're talking about Paqueta in an 8 next to Rice. Totally agree on that comment there. Let's get down here. We are going to here. West Ham have laid many clubs managers to waste. We're the final straw. Yeah. Lucas should be next to Rice as a part of a 2. I'd like to see Downs join them in a midfield 3. As for Moyes, I'm taking it game by game, which I agree on. Hopefully we can 6 points from Fulham and Southampton. I agree on that. Game by game ratio for me until we sort ourselves out. Can Flynn Downs come in and do a job in the Prem right now? I think it's a big ask to ask him to come in and do that when the man can't really get on the pitch in a conference game. Do you know what I'm saying? So Flynn, I just hope he isn't being treated like another Alex Crowell, in my opinion. I don't want to see that. And I think the only reason why Flynn's putting up with this, if I'm being truthfully honest, is because he's a West Ham boy. He's a West Ham man, and he's like, well, I'm at my boyhood club. And I think, let's be honest, anyone in the chat, and I use me as an example here, if I'm playing for West Ham United and they treat me like Flynn, I ain't really going to care because I'm playing for my club that I love. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think Moyes has got to let Flynn play some games. I will say that because I don't think he's done anything wrong, in my opinion. So, yeah. If it's his last year, surprised he didn't offer him a new contract last season. Ashby played his first game back on Saturday under 18s. Yeah. Let's get down to the bottom here. Apparently, Villa want Poch. Oh, well, good luck trying to sort that mess out. 100%, James. A three-man midfield is what I've been calling out for some time. I've been saying it for a long, long time, Hammerhead. When West Ham, and listen, I know people say about the Benny thing, but I always said West Ham in a 4-3-3 formation would be deadly with two inside forwards, either Cornet, Benny, Bowen, whoever you like, and either Scamacca or Antonio up front. I think the 4-2-3-1 is good, but we've got a few box-to-box players there who can sort of do that job in a 4-3-3, and we can be controlled in that sort of aspect. I think like the weekend, that's the sort of system we did play in the end. I think Cornet and Bowen were more forward. Scamacca played centrally and didn't drift from left to right, and that's what it was about, in my opinion. So, yeah. Let's get down here. What we got? Offload Kefal and maybe Johnson in the January. So we have Kehrer and Ashby as our right backs. I do fear for Ashby. I will say this. I think Ashby, if he don't get no games, he will be off, which will be a great shame. I've followed Ashby for the last 4 years. His whole youth development, seen him a lot of times over Dagenham Redbridge Football Club. So, yeah, if he does leave West Ham United, it'd be a great shame. It really will. The squad should be rotating, and Danzy's a must for Thursday. I agree. Lenzy needs a game against Anderlecht. I'm starting to forget what he looks like. Yeah. What we got? I can't see Moyes ever playing a 4-3-3 though, Jim. I think he did. I think he did on Saturday, if I'm honest. I don't think there's a 4-2-3-1. I think when you got Paqueta in there, Soucek, Rice, I think it's more of a flat three where like Rice will be in the centre and Paqueta will be over on the left hand side and Soucek will be on the right hand side of the midfielder. Yeah, listen, I think 4-3-3 is the way forward. Do you know what I mean? I'm not on that though, Rich. I will say that. I'm not on the 3-5-2. I don't ever want to see this 3-5-2 or 5-3-2 rubbish at West Ham. And this is a bit of a debate that's going on at the minute. Is like West Ham trying to play possession-based football, which West Ham can't hold the ball up enough and control the ball enough to play a possession-based game. West Ham really played on the counter on Saturday, which, do you know what? If West Ham sit deep and hit teams on the break, then I'm all for that. Because I think defensively, when we are good, we are very good. And we have got good counter-attacking players. So when we're trying to play this possession-based game, sometimes it just don't work. I want to see Moyes play 4-4-2. Interesting. Be interested to see what your midfield four would be, Smoggle. So, yeah, let us know what your four-man midfield would be. I think I know who centre forwards would be. What we got? What do you think of the future is going to be for Kefal if Kehrer is now going to be right back and Johnson comes back? I would prefer Johnson or Ashby going right back for cup games, pushing Kefal fourth choice. I think Kefal and Soucek, I don't know with Kefal. I think what it is with Timo, he can play anywhere in defence. So he can play left back, right back, back three. He's like a utility player for West Ham. So I think Kefal's lost it a little bit, but you can't knock Kefal really because the price tag that he come in at, I think it was £5.5 million, and for what he's done for that fee, I think he's been good enough at West Ham. He's not good enough now, but for what he has done, he's been good enough. A 4-2-4 sounds attacking, but it could be very, very good even when we have to sit back. Who was the better signing, Kehrer or Scamacca? For me, Kehrer's the better signing, mate. Jazza. I will say that. I think Kehrer's been a decent player for West Ham. I see a lot of stuff on Twitter and social media about people saying he's a bit overhyped, and they point out he's one or two mistakes. Now, I will say this, and as I do like Kehrer, I'll be brutally honest when I say this. On Saturday, he slid in for a tackle against a Wolves player and in the box, which was dangerous. If he clips him, it's a penalty. He's got to cut that out. I will say that. He has got to stop that sort of vibe. I keep sliding in. He done it against Brighton and he done it the other day. But he got away with it against Wolves. But I do think moving forward, he's here for the next 4 years plus 2 years added on. I think he's a decent player. I think we've nabbed him at the right time. I think we've got him massively on the cheap. I think he come to PSG from Schalke, I think, for like 38 or 39 million euros, right? So we've got him for 10.1. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, he's better than a 10.1 million pound signing, in my opinion. Scamacca, he does look the real deal. He does, but I will assess Scamacca at the end of the season to see where his goals and assists and all that. But at the minute, it's very, very promising. If Scamacca scores 15 goals in all competitions or more this year, then for 30 million pounds, I think he's an absolute steal also. I think West Ham's business has been good. It's just these players need to play. That's the only problem. So, yeah, that's it really from me. A midfield of Downs, Paqueta, Rice, and either Fornells or Soucek. Yeah, I know it's very flat forward though for me. Got no pace there. So I've got to be honest with you. What do you think about getting a shot on Thursday? No, maybe come on as a sub. I will say that. But for me, West Ham have to sort of maintain this sort of. We've won a game. We want to go there and impose ourselves and win the game. Right? Do you know what I mean? If we don't win the game on Thursday, and I'll leave that as the final comment. If we don't win the game on Thursday and we draw the game, it's not the end of the world. Right? As long as we come out of there with no injuries, I'm over the moon. I just want to see some players play, like Flynn. I think Flynn deserves to play a game, and I am worried about Flynn, if I'm being honest. Like I've called this for the last few weeks, ever since the FCSB game. I've sort of thought is Moyes treating him like a crowd, like only giving him games as of when he wants to. There's no excuse really for Thursday. Flynn should play. Like there is no excuse. So yeah, we will see what happens there. Anyway, that is enough of me rambling on. You've got better things to do on your Monday than listen to me. Listen, please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. West Ham this week. Busy week. Anderlecht on Thursday, Fulham on Sunday. We will see what happens. But for me, it's a good win on Saturday. But moving forward, we need to see consistency with West Ham. That's one thing I will say. I will be back during the week at some point, probably Wednesday, to do a preview on the Anderlecht game with the lads. Thursday, the usual, after thought and player ratings in the evening with me, Mitchell, and whoever is about. Lucas is in the UK. He will not be going to Anderlecht. He will be watching it in a local bar somewhere. So let's hope Lucas' vibes are still positive and West Ham are still going to continue their winning streak. West Ham Online is in. Hello all. What do you mean? You've just missed a great show, West Ham Online, but it is what it is. Anyway, from me to you, have a good one and keep the faith. West Ham have got their first win at home. Long may it continue. Peace.
There it is. I've never found a love like this.